He's not only a great football player, but he's also named the NCAA Coach of the Year after leading Auburn to a 10-1 record. We open up our phone lines. Let's take the first call. Where are you calling from? What's your question, please, from Mr. Dye?
Concord, California, where it's about 48 degrees and rainy. So it's not sunny California today.
Okay.
My question is, Mr. Dye, you were at Wyoming for a year, and for people around the country that might not know, what would you tell them about the level of football in the Western Athletic Conference?
Well, I think it's good. I think that you know, they are handicapped somewhat with the population in that area. You know, there's only 450,000 people that live in the state of Wyoming, and they have to recruit the athletes outside of that area. But that's pretty true throughout that conference. Of course, Brigham Young has a tremendous program there, and there's other strong programs in that conference. Of course, Air Force is doing a great job now, and I thoroughly enjoyed my year out there, and I never intended to leave after a year, but I had the opportunity to come back to Auburn. But I think they do a great job. Of course, it's a wide open conference. They throw the football quite a bit.
The next call is from Tallahassee, Florida, home of Florida State University, one of your most thrilling wins this season. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Thanks, sir. Coach Dye, I'd like to ask you to comment on the personnel matchups between Georgia and Florida, Georgia and Texas in the Cotton Bowl.
Well, it'll be a great football game. There's no question about it. Both of them are very strong physical defensive football teams, and I think Texas is the most physical defensive team that we've played against since I've been at Auburn, or maybe ever. They're just so strong and so fast. You think about their defensive front, but their secondary has tremendous ability also. But I think Georgia, too, is a great defensive football team, and they make a lot of things happen. I think Georgia's kicking game is better, and that could make a difference in the game. I would give Texas the edge as far as overall being a little better football team, but Georgia's kicking game may even it up.
If you get some help from your alma mater, meaning the Georgia Bulldogs.
I saw Coach Dooley last night, and I told him I was pulling for him in the bowl game.
That's right. Do you think you have a chance for a national championship?
Well, if both of them lost, I think we'd have a good argument for the national championship because of playing the kind of schedule we played. I don't think anybody in the country can say at the end of playing 12 games that we've played 9 bowl teams. And we have, and it's been a lot of fun, and I was a little cautious going into the season, but it's been a rewarding year for our football team. And we were a very young team, and we're not near as good when we played Texas as we were later on in the year.
Let's go back to our phone lines. Where are you calling from? What's your question, please?
Yes, my name is Walter Goffigan. I would like to congratulate Coach Dye and his team on his season this year. And I would like to know if do Coach Dye think this is his best team he ever coached?
Walter, it's good to hear from you. Walter Goffigan, I recruited to Wyoming from Virginia Beach, and he is a great back at Wyoming, and has had an outstanding career there. Walter, I think this is certainly the best football team that I've had as a head football coach, or ever really, because we have more ability, more talent, and it's a good cross-section of seniors and juniors and sophomores. The chemistry is right for the football team. We have some positions on the team that are not great, but they're winners, and they're a good football team, same kind of kids that we had at Wyoming, and they enjoy playing the game.
You also had another stop at East Carolina. They've surprised a few people rebuilding their program. Are they a top 20 team?
I don't think there's any question. East Carolina's did a tremendous job this year. We played Florida State a week or so after they played East Carolina, and we played Florida the week after they played East Carolina. So we got to see East Carolina play both of those teams before we played them. And East Carolina can play with anybody in the country. And I'd say that if East Carolina had played Florida State, Florida, and Miami in Greenville, North Carolina, they'd have probably won all 3 games. East Carolina's program is in a young stage, and they're growing, and they have a difficult time bringing the teams into Greenville, but they are a quality football team. Greenville, North Carolina is a great place to go to school and a great place to recruit to, and we have a lot of friends there, and I think have a great future in football.
Let's go back to our phone lines. Next call is from Atlanta. Go ahead.
Yeah, first thing I want to say is War Eagle. I want a two-part question. I want to know what you're going to do next year, whether we're going to move from the wishbone to the I formation, and what's your plans for Brett Fullwood next year?
Well, I think Brent would probably control his own destiny. In our program, we have, you know, he's one of our running backs, and he showed the ability this year to be a great back. But we also have several other talented players for him to compete with and to beat out. We'll stay in the wishbone. We thought about other formations, but I think what we'll do is probably vary our formations a little more. But we still think that making people get ready to play a three-back offense and the veer, the option game is still hard to defend against and gives us some ability that other teams don't have.
Wishbone has kind of faded away a lot of places, but not at Auburn.
Well, it's been good to us, and you know, Air Force is running it at the Air Force, and they've done a great job with it. And people think you got to have great personnel, but I think just the opposite.
Good coaching. Let's go to the next call. This one's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Oh, that's Pittsburgh, California. I was calling to ask Coach Dye, what was his feelings going into the Alabama game 2 years ago with all the hoopla at stake and Coach Bear Bryant's record on the line?
Well, Coach Bryant and I were very close friends, and I loved him and respected him very much. It was certainly an emotional football game for both sides. It was one that we wanted to win very badly. It was one that, I don't know if you remember it or not, but we were ahead actually in the fourth quarter, and Alabama came back to score 2 touchdowns and win it. But it was, I didn't have any feeling about it being his 315th win because he had beaten a lot of other folks to get to that point. I think maybe he took a little special pride in it being Auburn, but it was, we just happened to be there when history was created. You know, they had to lose a couple of games during the season for it to actually come against Auburn, but there was a lot of publicity and a lot of press involved in the thing, and, you know, I think the way our football team...
Coach Dye, how do you compare the University of Michigan football team coaching-wise and team-wise with the University of Auburn?
Well, first of all, I've been a fan of Coach Schembechler's ever since I can remember. I've watched his teams play and have been impressed with the intensity in which they play, the discipline, and they've always kind of stood for the best in college football. I like the fact that Coach Schembechler believes in defense and running the football just like we do, and they're an outstanding football team again this year like they are every year. It's not a matter of whether Michigan's going to have a good football team every year. It's just a matter of how good they're going to be, and this year is no different. They are not quite as big as some of the teams that we've played, but they're very quick on defense and get a lot of people around the football offensively. They've got an outstanding offensive line, and I think outstanding running backs. Their quarterback presents a lot of problems with his running ability and throwing the football. So it should be an interesting football game and one that we're certainly looking forward to.
Going to a bowl game, also keeping up a busy schedule of football throughout the entire season. Is it too much work for a kid trying to keep up his grades?
Well, you know, I always made better grades during football season than I did any other time during the year because you own more of a disciplined schedule, and it just seemed to work out that way. I think that when you get on a regular routine that you do better, and I think our players have basically been that way, but the ones that are having problems academically at Auburn, we keep in a study hall, so we know where they are all the time, and they seem to do well anyway.
With the tragedy at the beginning of the season with the passing away of Greg Pratt, did you learn anything about conditioning that maybe you'll do differently next year?
Well, I don't think it was what we did, Greg. I think it was we all try to rationalize what caused it and so on and so forth, but it was something that we'll never know. That we've run the same conditioning for 10 years, whatever. We started it when I was coaching at Alabama, and it's not that difficult physically to do it, and so we have I don't have any reason for why it happened. we'll look at it, but I don't think we'll change it. It's certainly going to be different next year when we do it. And I may change it just for that one reason, but not because of the severity of the test, but I may change what we do. I thought about it a little bit, but I haven't dwelled on it. But I think the passing of Greg probably made all of us stronger and better people, because it makes you realize very quickly how precious life is and how quickly it can be gone. I don't think it's in it. We never mentioned it during the season, but it was always there. And I think that the only time that I can remember the players talking about it openly was after the Alabama game, and you could tell that it had been there all year long. But we certainly never used it as a motivating factor in our season.
We have to be proud of what the team accomplished, being able to come back like this, finish 10-1, possibly a shot at the national title in the Sugar Bowl. Good luck, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Bob Kurtz will be back with a recap of this very busy Sunday right after this.